Hello, so this is the Code of Ethics 2021 amendment, so for self-care and cultural competence. In 2020, the social work profession was faced with new and unique challenges as frontline responders to both the global COVID-19 pandemic and the racial and social justice crisis, all demanding drastic, systematic changes. NASW has risen to the occasion by taking actions in real time to address the needs of the profession through social media forums. The development of resources to guide the profession's social and political advocacy efforts, and now amendments to the NASW Code of Ethics. One of the many ways the association has seized the moment has been by listening to the voices of social work advocates who raise concerns about key elements of ethical social work practice that needed to be included in the NASW Code of Ethics. The NASW's Code of Ethics is a living document that responds to social change to meet the needs of the profession. While the core values and principles that have historically been the benchmarks of the profession are relatively grounded, there are times when emergent societal changes require clearer language or a different emphasis on integral ethical responsibilities that serve to guide the way forward for social workers. Making an amendment to the NASW Code of Ethics requires a formal review process governed by the NASW's bylaws and approved by the association's delegate assembly. After careful deliberation via the delegate assembly review process, two significant amendments were made to the NASW's Code of Ethics in 2020 and 2021. The inclusion of self-care language and the purpose and ethical principle select sections of the code, and the reinstatement of the term cultural competence as it relates to social workers. Ethical responsibilities described in Standards 1.05 in the NASW Code of Ethics. Advocates for the inclusion of self-care language in the NASW Code of Ethics raise the matter of self-care as a key component of ethical and professional excellence. This aligns with empirical research demonstrating that proactive self-care reduces the likelihood of impairment and enhances job satisfaction and professional longevity. They compellingly argue that the explicit inclusion of the value of self-care in the NASW Code of Ethics would serve as a powerful preventive function and a supportive, healthy culture among social workers. As the code has been amended to include new language in the purpose section that reads, professional self-care is paramount for competent and ethical social work practice. Professional demands, challenging workplace climates, and exposure to trauma warrant that social workers maintain personal and professional health, safety, and integrity. Social work organizations, agencies, and educational institutions are encouraged to promote organizational policies, practices, and materials to support social workers' self-care. Changes to the ethical principles section of the code also took into account that self-care also protects social workers' capacity to support the values of integrity. Ethical principle. Social workers behave in a trustworthy manner. Social workers are continually aware of the profession's mission, values, ethical principles, and ethical standards, and practice in a manner consistent with them. Social workers should take measures to take care for themselves professionally and personally. Social workers can act honestly and responsibly and promote ethical practices on the part of the organization with which they are affiliated. In 2020, NASW's Delegate Assembly also deliberated proposed changes to the Standard 1.05, formerly Cultural Awareness and Social Diversity. These recommendations for change were proposed by the National Committee on Racial and Ethnic Diversity. The 2017 revision of the NASW Code of Ethics changed the title of Standard 1.05 from Cultural Competence to Cultural Awareness and Social Diversity. NCORED was instrumental in bringing to the fore concerns that this change diluted the spirit and commitment of this standard. During a time when the culturally diverse populations in the United States and globally are demanding a renewed commitment across professions and systems that reinforce an emphasis on equality and an improved quality of life and care for all. Moreover, the reinstatement of the title Cultural Competence aligns with the NASW's and other aligned professional organization language around innovative and expert cultural competence frameworks and approaches. The NCORED proposal for changes resulted in the approval of language amendments, including the reinstatement of Standard 1.05 as cultural competence, in more empathetic language that operationalizes how cultural competence is demonstrated. Sorry, I had to take a drink. So, here we look at 1.05, which is the cultural competence. So, A, social workers should demonstrate understanding of culture and its function in human behavior and society, recognizing that strengths that exist in all cultures. B, social workers should demonstrate knowledge that guides practice with clients of various culture and be able to demonstrate skills in the provision of culturally informed services that empower marginalized individuals and groups. Social workers must take action against oppression, racism, discrimination, and inequalities, and acknowledge personal privilege. C, social workers should demonstrate awareness and cultural humility by engaging in critical self-reflection, understanding their own bias, and engaging in self-correction. Recognizing clients as experts of their own culture. Committing to lifelong learning and hold institutions accountable for advancing cultural humility. D, social workers should obtain education and demonstrate understanding of the natural nature of social diversity and oppression with respect to race, ethnicity, national origin, color, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression, age, marital status, political belief, religion, immigration status, and mental or physical ability. Social workers who provide electronic social work services should be aware of cultural and socioeconomic differences among clients' use of and access to electronic technology and seek to prevent such potential barriers. Social workers should assess cultural, environmental, economic, mental, or physical ability, linguistic, and other issues that may result and may affect the delivery or use of these services. It has been said that crisis can be seen as an opportunity. NASW endeavors to seize the opportunity to reflect on where we are, who we are, and how we are as an association and profession can be a catalyst for change. These significant amendments to the NASW Code of Ethics equip the profession with the guidance necessary to continue to be leaders, educators, healers, and advocates for social well-being.